Hi and welcome to our special interview series where we shall be featuring a host of real estate experts. To start us off, we have Mr. Nashon Okowa, who is an author, a project manager, and an all-round real estate expert. So I'll let you, Mr. Nashon, introduce yourself, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you landed in the construction and real estate industry.
Thank you. My name is Nashon Okowa. I'm a project manager. By and large, that's what I'm known for. I always say I'm first and foremost a project manager above everything else. I studied construction management from University of Nairobi. So by training, I am trained construction project manager. Graduated, this is my 12th year in practice. Worked for 6 years. Yeah, six years. And then quit and started my own company, Beacon Africa. Started in 2015. 2 years before I quit employment. Beacon Africa, we are consultants and we consult in different fields. First of all, we consult on project management. So we advise developers. We manage projects. We manage projects from design all the way to construction field. Number two, we do feasibility studies. We do market and financial feasibility studies. Number three, we also do market studies. Yeah, we do market CMA, comparative market analysis, which also fits onto our feasibility. So that's one of our areas as well. Number four is we do disputes. We do construction disputes. So developers, contractors, anyone that in construction disputes, we represent them.
So Nashon, I know you're an author. I know you've written a wonderful book called Do Not Buy That House. So some of the main topics that come out of the book are some of the pitfalls that are faced by home buyers who fail to undertake the right due diligence. What can you tell us about some of the common pitfalls that people tend to fall into, and what can they do to avoid those pitfalls?
Thank you. First of all, yes. Let me say that I've advised so many buyers. I've advised so many home buyers in this market. And the book was born because of that work that I was doing a lot. In my practice, I advise so many buyers. I advise so many developers, people want to do projects. The name itself came because that was a response answer I gave so many times. Don't buy that house, don't buy that house, after doing a number of things. But still, you'll find that there's so many innocent buyers, innocent Kenyans that get into this frame of getting conned. So I decided, now look, let me put it down to a book. Now, pitfalls that buyers make. Approvals. They don't check approvals. We are so fixated with renders, with billboards. We do not get into the nitty-gritties of our project, of the details of this project. And in the book, I talk about the 7 critical areas that any buyer must interrogate before you sign the letter of offer. Forget about the sale agreement, the letter of offer. Like these things, these are boxes that must all tick. Not some, not 80%, 100%. So you'll realize people buy projects that don't even have approvals. Last week I was handling a development where there's no title, it's on a sale agreement, and they have no approvals. But so many people have put the money already in it. That's one of the pitfalls. Number two is people don't check house details. People buy from images. Kenyans are used to brochures and billboards, and that is it. They don't care. They'll want that render to be the way it is. And people who are developers have known how to whip that render. So until the house is complete, then they begin to realize, this is not the size of sitting room I thought it was. Because what you see on the render sometimes is not on the actual details. Renders are meant to wipe emotions. There's that pitfall, big area there that they don't check. People buy houses without knowing how much service charge will be at the end. Yeah, so you end up buying a house, and then you'll pay a service charge almost equal to your rent currently, and you're on a mortgage. I've seen people who are moved out on a house they bought because it's too expensive, and just based on service charge. So there are 7 critical areas I talk about in that book, and I still believe those critical areas must be interrogated by any buyer before they buy a house. So don't buy that house. It's a fantastic book for all-plan on buyers. There are 7 areas that have common mistakes for buyers that we need to interrogate.
You've talked about the challenges that buyers face. What about some of the challenges that project managers face?
Wow. I mean, that's a good... look, project management is still, compared to our counterparts, the architects, engineers, it's a baby in the built environment. We are only, 18 years old. Architects have been here for 50 or so years. The first challenges we face is obviously the need for people don't know what to do. Most people do not understand what a project manager does, or it's often conflated. Some people think you only need a project manager for big projects. Some people you don't need one at all. So first thing is just the conflation of the role of a project manager, and that conflation and confusion have come in, including in the professions in the built environment. I mean, my mother would struggle to know what I do. We are all engineers. Yeah. So that's the first thing. Number 2, we have made it in this country, and a big challenge you face where it's normal to go over budget and time. In fact, I always say it is criminal in this country to finish a project on time. It is almost criminal. Yeah, it's a norm when you set up project, government or private, that it goes overboard. Yet our core function as a project manager is to manage cost on time. So we are struggling with an indoctrination that has been in Kenyans for a long time. People believe there's nothing wrong. In fact, we even put it in the act, the PPO Act, that the project should go over by 25%. In my training, project should not go over. But you realize in government projects, there's an allowance for that. So we are struggling with that indoctrination of that is even subscribed in law at some point on our role.
What are your thoughts on sustainable construction?
I don't think it's a matter we can exercise choice on as a country. I mean, this country is signatory to the UN Accord on sustainable cities and towns. So as a country, we have the threshold of building sustainably. Are we doing it? No. That's an unfortunate thing. I mean, look at Nairobi, for example. It is unplanned and uncoordinated development. Yeah, it's almost open to anyone to size of your pocket to decide which project you do. Sustainability is construction globally contributes almost 50% of the CO2. So we are a big contributor to CO2. In this country, there's a serious attempt to start having a conversation, but we haven't. Unfortunately, we haven't. However, we have to do it whether you like it or not. I've said this in many forums. We'll have to do it willingly or not, because nature is very punitive. Yeah. The increased flooding you see in Nairobi, the unprecedented floodings you see, will augment. It will exacerbate if we don't address the sustainability of how we build in Nairobi. Some of these things are going to exacerbate. It's going to increase. So we'll have to do it willingly or not. Nature will punish us at the core of it. I am for building sustainably, because that is the only way we can take care of Mother Nature. In our small way in Nairobi, in our small ways in small towns in Nairobi, or in this country, we must embed sustainability. I have always advised, we are devising the building code, that we need to have a basic standard of sustainable development or sustainable building that is part of approval system. Yeah, we need to come up with a small basic, like this is the basic standard of how green building should be done. So, and it's part of when I take my drawing to any county for approval, that basic standard needs to be one of the requirements checked. So it doesn't matter whether you're building in Nyahururu town, you're building in Migori town, you're building in Nairobi, that basic structure, that basic standard of sustainable building is met in every county. We need to embed it in our building code. We're revising the building code. Let's put those standards in the building code so that it becomes part of us. Some of these things, if you leave them open, Kenyans don't like things open, they will not do it. Embed it in law.
So how can professionals in the construction and real estate sector maintain high ethical standards?
First of all, let me say that there is a stiff competition to be unprofessional in this industry. Yeah? Very stiff competition. We are a country that is work in progress. And we are a country that has ethics deficit. I mean, those things are things we must appreciate as a country. that we are still a third world that is developing. So there are certain things of us are developing. And we have ethics deficit. I mean, it's known. It's not something we share about. We are growing out of it. Hopefully we will. The built environment is full of unprofessionalism. It's full of shortcuts. It's full of corruption. And the only way to maintain ethics in developing countries is to follow the law. And you have people that are supposed, mandated to supervise, follow that procedure. That is the only language we hear as a developing country. It's not bespoke to us. I think that is the nature of developing countries. Until we embed it in law and follow it, no one will follow it. So I don't think these are things we need to leave them for people to decide. Yeah. A big part of professionals in the built environment are regulated. So let the regulators supervise that until we reach a point as a country where our ethics has matured enough that I can able to do the right thing on my own.
What are some of the financial options that people can seek out, and what are some of the challenges that people face when seeking out financing for projects?
I think one of the most critical financing of projects is off-plan sales, and hence my book as well, because there was an attempt to demonize off-plan. And when you demonize off-plan, only Kenyans stand to lose, because off-plan sale has been used globally. No country is done away with it. We want. We need to buttress its challenges through regulation and then have it as a model. Off-plan model is one of the best models for financing projects, but it requires honesty. There can never be a substitution for honesty and integrity in real estate. You can't even substitute it with big billboards. If you're not honest, whether you do 10 billboards, you're not honest. So off-plan is a model that the genuine developers have used and are still using to finance projects, yeah, because they have that track record. So sell off-plan and then borrow as little as possible. Some developers don't even borrow at all. They just use that off-plan. Yeah, banks still remain an option, though it's very punitive. The bank's finance cost and the interest rates are quite high, and sometimes also the requirements they put for developer to meet before you finance a project is quite punitive. All right, so that's a problem that we have, but banks still is an option. Joint ventures is another option to finance projects. Landowners have consulted on so many joint ventures in this Nairobi city. Someone has finance, someone has land, partners in between, and then do. A big trend we are seeing now as well is what I would call option financing. There are a lot of finance institutions from out there because of our lucrative interest rates that are coming in. So you'll find some 20 people in the US have this finance because the interest there is so small, they want to put it this side. So that is now opening a big of investments. I know a lot of those venture capitals as well that are coming. The future, I think we're going to get the offshore a lot. We're going to get rates, real estate investment trusts. I think there's a big discussion around it with this new administration. The president has launched, I think, the third one with lab trust. Yeah, rates is another option. Offshore is, for me, it's a big area. Africa and Kenya being the center of it in East Africa is still lucrative in terms of investment. You're going to get a lot of that. Yes. Tell me about any predictions you have for the future for construction in real estate. Finance bill has changed my perception about this thing. A month or two ago, it will have been different. Look, a year after election is always good for us as a country. The year that follows an election, usually real estate booms. People are settled, they look forward to the next 5 years. Those who are pessimistic about elections get out of it, so you'll find a lot of drive in real estate. Since the year began, I don't see a trend change in that perception of real estate boom. However, there's a finance bill, 2023. That bill has a potential of changing the direction of taking real estate. It's very punitive in terms of punishing real estate investment. It's going to hinder some investors. It's going to hinder our growth in this industry. If it passes through, then definitely we're going to expect suppressed growth in real estate. However, if it doesn't, I think the industry is still pushing its boom of usually the trend of a year after election, it grows out well. That will be my take. Otherwise, real estate is moving to satellite towns. I think that is now obvious for most people. The outskirts of Nairobi is becoming the key area for obvious reasons. Rents are a bit cheaper, land is a bit cheaper, so the drive is going to the metropolis of Nairobi in terms of growth.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nashon, for joining us today. You've really given us a wealth of information. There are so many things that even I was finding out today, and thank you so much for sharing everything with us. So until next time, we'll meet again on this very channel. Have a good day.